Hello and welcome to the Kopala TV main news. And now for today's headlines. NACERS painfully declared 2020 as a dead year for non-examination grades. Government extends Aquaculture Fund deadline. Rainbow Party on the Copper Belt welcomes the recently launched 470 million Kwacha Youth Empowerment Fund. Join us in a bit for the details. To present the Kopala TV main news, my name is Wabula Musongole. National Action for Quality Education in Zambia, NACERS, says it has painfully declared 2020 as a dead year for non-examination grades. NACERS Executive Director Aaron Chancellor said that after extensive debates within and outside NACERS, wide consultations and careful analysis of the crisis of desks in schools, they have concluded that this year will not suffice for learners not writing examinations. Mr. Chancellor said, with the current surge in COVID-19 positive cases in the country, strict public health guidelines coupled with inadequacies by schools to accommodate more learners in the face of the pandemic, they hold a position that it would be suicidal to reopen schools for more learners than those who are already learning in 2020. He says NACERS genuinely sympathizes with learners in non-examination classes because staying away from school for too long may have telling and long-term academic and social consequences on them, their families, and the nation as a whole, but the country also has an inescapable duty to protect the lives of the same learners.
After very careful analysis, a lot of debates and consultations, we have come to a very painful conclusion that the year 2020 is a dead year for non-examination classes in Zambia. Painful as it may be, we think that this is the best way to go because the cases of corona are surging, schools are not capable to receive more learners, and the ministry will do well to allow these learners who are not learning now to proceed to higher grades next year in 2021, and only pick those topics that are important to be taught and give exams, national exams based on those topics, and also begin to intensify teaching and learning through alternative modes so that no one is left behind for now. We also think that parents must help with the situation. Those parents who can read and write should be able to begin to teach their children. Home teaching will be very, very much important now and be able to help the situation.
His Excellency Dr. Edgar Chagwa Lungu, President of the Republic of Zambia, yesterday attended the 40th SADC Summit of the Heads of State and Government, hosted virtually by the Republic of Mozambique. According to a statement issued by Special Assistant to the President, Press and Public Relations, Isaac Chipampe, the summit received the report from the outgoing chairman of the Organ on Politics, Defense and Security Cooperation and Zimbabwean President, His Excellency Mr. Emerson Mnangagwa, and also heard from the other heads of state regarding the impact of COVID-19 in the region. In his intervention statement, President Lungu congratulated His Excellency Mr. Filipe Jacinto Nyusi, President of the Republic of Mozambique, the newly elected chairperson of SADC. Moving on, the opposition Rainbow Party on the Copper Belt have welcomed the recently launched youth empowerment by His Excellency President of the Republic of Zambia, Dr. Edgar Lungu. Rainbow Party Copperbelt Provincial Youth Chairman Shadrack Mwale says they have welcomed the move taken by the PF government in trying to empower the youths across the country. Mr. Mwale said it is in their good judgment and understanding that the move is progressive in the right direction, while emphasizing that it should not only be a mere launch for the sake of impression by the president.
We want to welcome the move taken by the PF government in trying to empower our youths across the country. It is in our good judgment and understanding that the move is progressive in a right direction, while emphasizing that it should not only be a mere launch for the sake of impression by His Excellency. No. The Rainbow Party youths on the Copper Belt are not sure whether the purported empowerment would benefit even the youths from the opposition political parties, as it can be evidenced by the manner at which the organizers chose not to invite the opposition political youth leaders to the said launch.
In case you have just tuned in, you're watching the Kopala TV main news. Join us in a bit after our commercial break.
Kopala TV, Kopala ya buena mumwesu Kopala.
My number ishusho limentindeaza yama oji urushani Kopala TV
yama oji imuntu wandi yesu fwebene by fwebene naidede kalasti yako Kopala futi yaba Kopala
manje kuikatashani yoina naena ya kuntambo oroni jiviji
wala iwe ile sango patop stad koda channel 98 paku ninshi yatolera puta mensa ninshi yalila ni evidimbwe kule izimuli la femunjazi
so yulila ndati Kopala TV tayawanga ya boiling channel wako vatu wachilatamba fe wino kwangwa filamba fyambo kupona uruwa mfotoro bantu ifuma chane wefingi fyamupula fi
alula iwe Kopala TV ni Kopala futhi eile kuchalo no shali mokuba molasti elo ile sansa Kopala yonse my number ukwambila pepa my number pandula lwansha kito paketi ke mufudila mufuken chingola pa chingo begi na chidila iwe ni Kopala TV eiliko
muntu wanja pakushongora fika top star wetata ndetambela pofi Kopala TV pachani 98 pakude konkana ne charo bamba to bamba ni pate after pate wo pate after pate wo Kopala TV OG yeah.
Kopala TV, available on Topstar Channel 98. Kopala TV, entertainment just for you.
Looking for an opportunity to grow your business? Well, Kopala TV has good news for all small-scale businesses. You can now advertise on Kopala TV's Makwebo. Bonseba na mayo na bashtata. Iseni mulangishe amakwebo yenu pamutengo uachepa nga 100 kwacha. Yes, you heard right. For as low as 100 kwacha, your business will get its peak. Whatever the business, we will advertise. All you need to do is send a text of what your business offers, indicating the name, location, and contact details to the number below. Payment for the advertising spot can be made through MTN mobile money on the number down below. Makwebo, make your business known.
One Zambia, one nation.
Zambia chalo chesu. Stop political violence.
I am Zambian. I am against political violence.
I am Zambian, and I say disarm all cadres now.
It's not one Zambia if we kill each other. Stop the violence.
It's not good killing one another as Zambians. Stop the violence.
Let's keep the peace in our streets. Let's work to stay one Zambia.
It's not one Zambia if we kill each other. Stop the violence.
Ndimwina Zambia, lekeni ukulwa pamulandu wa politics.
Welcome back. The opposition National Democratic Congress, NDC, says PF cadres do not respect the Zambian presidency through harassment of Zambian police officers. NDC Vice Spokesperson Chipoka Mulenga says the continued intimidation and harassment of the police by PF cadres is getting out of hand. Mr. Mulenga charged that it is insulting, demeaning and disrespectful to the commissioning office, the presidency as well, noting that police officers are a pride of the nation and they are trained to maintain law and order in the country regardless of individuals involved.
It is extremely unfortunate that the country has continued to observe PF cadres abusing men in uniform, particularly the Zambia police officers. It is of a clear understanding that Zambia police officers are commissioned by the President of the Republic of Zambia. When they go in the streets to maintain law and order, a job that they have been trained for, they represent the head of state. But unfortunately, it is under this government where we have seen PF cadres abusing police officers. When a man in uniform goes into the street, they are not only there as law enforcers, they are the pride of the nation. Where their presence is, law and order must be maintained, must be observed, must be respected, must be installed. However, unfortunately, under this leadership, the only leadership ever since I started observing and understanding politics in this country, we have witnessed police officers being disrespected. Their inability to react towards the cadres, the unruly cadres, is not because they are so foolish, they are stupid or anything. They are just scared of being retired in the perceived national interest, as precedence has been set in Sesheke. So all we are asking for, we are calling for this government, is to respect the men in uniform. Ministry of Home Affairs, please respect the presidency by honoring the works of the police officers. I think a time has come when we should call for the replacement of PIG, Police Inspector General Kanganja, with an honorable leader who should be one of his deputies.
Government has extended the period of receiving applications from youths across the country for them to access the $6 million Aquaculture Development Fund. Fisheries and Livestock Minister Nkanduluo says the date of application, which was slated to close on the 14th of August 2020, has been moved to the 28th of August. Speaking during a press briefing in Ndola, Professor Luo said the reason for the extension is to enable more youths who are interested in fish farming to apply for the grant. Professor Luo urged youths to quickly submit their applications to any near Fisheries and Livestock Office and the District Commissioner's offices in their respective districts, as the ministry will not extend the date any further. She has since appealed to youths in the country to be swift in responding to government empowerment programs that are aimed at improving their livelihood. Lastly, in local news, the Democratic Party is dismayed by a statement that was carried by the press on the 17th of August 2020, where the president is quoted making scathing attacks on the Anti-Corruption Commission, ACC. DP spokesperson Judith Kabemba says the president was quoted condemning the ACC for seemingly working with other law enforcement agencies in trying to get him out of office. The condemnation of the ACC by the president comes barely a few weeks after the Lusaka province minister uttered a statement that left the nation wondering on how low our standards had gone in the fight against corruption as a country. Meanwhile, the DP appreciates the need to cast the net wider in the fight against corruption. In case you have just tuned in, you are still watching the Kopala TV main news. We break once more and return with international news.
Kopala TV, Kopala ya buena mumwesu Kopala. Kopala TV.
My number ishusho limentindeya yama oji orushani Kopala TV
yama oji imuntu wandi Yesu fwebene by fwebene fwebene aidede kalasti yako Kopala futi yaba Kopala
manje kuikatashani yoyina naye naye kuntambo olo ni jiviji
wala iwe ile sango patopsta decoder channel 98 paku ninshi yatobela puta mensa ninshi yalila ni efidimbwe kule izimoli lape munjazi
soyolilandati Kopala TV tayabanga yamaboiling channel ako batu wachilatamba fe bwino kwangwa filamba fyambo kupona oluwa mfotolo bantu ifuma channel efingi fyamupula fi
alula iwe Kopala TV ni Kopala futhi kuchalo no ushali mokuba molasti elo ile sansa Kopala yonse my number ukwambila pepa my number pandula lwansha kito paketi ke mufudila mufuken chingola pa chingo begi na chidila iwe ni Kopala TV liko
muntu wanja pakushongora fika top star wetata ndetambela pofi Kopala TV pachani 98 pakude konkana ne charo bampa to bamba ni pate after pate wo pate after pate wo
Kopala TV OG
Kopala TV, available on Topstar Channel 98. Kopala TV, entertainment just for you.
Looking for an opportunity to grow your business? Well, Kopala TV has good news for all small-scale businesses. You can now advertise on Kopala TV's Makwebo. Bonseba na mayo na bashtata. Iseni mulangishe amakwebo yenu pamutengo uachepa nga 100 kwacha. Yes, you heard right. For as low as 100 kwacha, your business will get its peak. Whatever the business, we will advertise. All you need to do is send a text of what your business offers, indicating the name, location, and contact details to the number below. Payment for the advertising spot can be made through MTN mobile money on the number down below. Makwebo, make your business known.
One Zambia, one nation.
Zambia chalo chesu. Stop political violence.
I am Zambian. I am against political violence.
I am Zambian, and I say disarm all cadres now.
It's not one Zambia if we kill each other. Stop the violence.
It's not good killing one another as Zambians. Stop the violence.
Let's keep the peace in our streets. Let's work to stay one Zambia.
It's not one Zambia if we kill each other. Stop the violence.
Ndimwina Zambia, lekeni ukulwa pamulandu wa politics.
Welcome back. In foreign news, tear gas and stun grenades have been fired at protesters in Sudan's capital on the first anniversary of a landmark power-sharing deal. Demonstrators say the transition to democracy has been too slow following the overthrow of longtime leader Omar al-Bashiri. We monitored Al Jazeera for these details.
Venting their frustration on the first anniversary of the signing of Sudan's power-sharing agreement, but a planned 3.5-hour rally in Khartoum was cut short when police fired stun grenades and tear gas. Many people had hoped the deal, which followed months of political turmoil and protester killings, would be a new start for the country. But they say they've not seen enough change.
When we started the revolution, it was because of the economy, and when the first martyr fell, the goal became justice for those who had lost their lives in this revolution. We promised to hold those who killed civilians to account. That main demand is not yet met. There can be no moving forward if the main demand of those who took to the street is not achieved.
His friend says the power-sharing agreement between military and civilian leaders is flawed.
The
The political parties did not have a long-term vision. They were in a rush to reach a deal. They lacked a national spirit and went into negotiations based on the interests of their own respective parties and leaders. Now it's difficult for them to lead in the interest of the people at heart.
The deal, known as the Constitutional Declaration, came after months of negotiations following the overthrow of President Omar al-Bashir. The Forces of Freedom and Change, which led anti-government protests, demanded a say on governance, and ended up with a plan for the military to lead for the first 21 months and a civilian for the remaining 18 months until elections. Also included were more freedoms, and ending conflicts such as in Darfur was made a priority. The transitional government admits that change is slow, but says it takes time and there are challenges.
Lockdown has hit deprived parts of the UK particularly hard. Now, research by the Institute for Fiscal Studies suggests that in England, it's widened the education gap between the richest and poorest primary school children. It shows that during the pandemic, the wealthiest 20% of pupils were spending 6 hours a week more on educational activities compared to the poorest 20%. One head teacher told the BBC it will take nearly 2 years to close this gap. The government says it is vital for children's education that all pupils return to the classroom in September. We monitored the BBC for this story.
Educating through coronavirus in the most deprived parts of the country. Children with hope and ambition.
My dreams are to become a dancer and a singer. I'm determined to do the best in high school that I can.
The last day of term inside St Mary and St Thomas Primary in St Helens, an outstanding school where almost half of the 220 pupils have a special need.
In a deprived area there is already a gap that we're always striving to close.
What's coronavirus done to the education of the most vulnerable here?
It's stalled their education and that gap will have grown hugely.
Have you been speaking to your mental health worker?
They call 50 of the most vulnerable children and their families every week.
I can hear them all playing in the background.
More than 6 out of 10 pupils here receive free school meals.
How are you for food? On our list it is looked after children, domestic abuse, low employment in the area, drug misuse.
Even before lockdown, the school handed out at least 30 food parcels every month.
Hi, sweetheart. Got your bags for you.
Linda's in charge of the welfare of all pupils, including home visits.
It's making sure we provide a safe, secure environment for them, that they feel ready to learn, that their worries are left at the door. I need a bag for Kelly that I can drop off.
These are for Kelly, a single parent and mum to Ria. Ria is 8 years old and a mum's young carer.
She's got 2 bad legs, 1 hand, so it's hard for her cooking and stuff. We've moved house during lockdown and it's really hard for me just packing stuff and unpacking.
And on top of all of this, you've got to learn.
Yeah.
Hi, Kelly. Can I come in? How are you, love?
I'm brilliant.
Liking this new house.
Thank you. Oh, you've dropped on here, Cal.
Ria's mum has cerebral palsy.
Is she your support?
She's me everything. She's me world, me rock.
And she's just 8 years.
8 years of age, you know.
The school and Kelly want Ria to reach her full potential.
Yes, I'd like her to go to uni and go on to find a decent job and be set for life, really, yeah.
Home learning for children like Phoebe has been especially tough.
Finally, in foreign news, in an extraordinary and humiliating change of policy, the UK government has announced that the exam results of hundreds of thousands of pupils will now be based on their teachers' assessments rather than grades generated by computer modelling. The Education Secretary, Gavin Williamson, who had claimed the results would be robust and fair, apologised to students, parents and teachers for the distress caused by weeks of confusion. The policy reversal applies to pupils sitting A-levels and GCSEs in England, Wales and Northern Ireland. We monitored the BBC for this story.
I was predicted A-star and 2 A's by my teachers and I was given A-star BB on results day.
Steph has lost a place at Cambridge, first from her family in Birkenhead to go to uni. This morning she told me teacher grades should stand.
When we have to work extra hard for where we are and we still haven't gotten anything out of it. And I know that obviously my grades are still very good, but I've still missed out on brilliant opportunities. out of anyone in this, we should just be trusting the teachers.
You got a name?
Now, 5 days after A-level results, teacher estimates will replace lower grades. A change made only after huge pressure. An apology finally to students from the regulator.
I'd like to say sorry. We have recognised the difficulty that young people have faced coping with the receipt of grades that they were unable to understand the basis on which they had been awarded. And I would like to say sorry for that. And we are now taking steps to put that right.
Universities had closed some courses. They'd been told not to offer to too many. Now the limit on places in England lifted.
Incredibly sorry for all those students who have been through this. And we're removing those caps on every single university in the United Kingdom so that they have the ability to expand the number of places, welcoming more students into those universities, as many as possible.
The next political challenge, school returns, but not before this row plays out.
This problem has been there for months and the government hasn't sorted it out. It then came to the wrong decision last week, refused to change its mind until today, and now there's a huge amount of unravelling that's got to be done. But don't underestimate the distress and anger this has caused thousands of young people who've seen their futures all over the place over the last few days.
In Birkenhead, the college principal not impressed. For some of his students, this came too late.
They're going to unleash a different set of problems now. So this is not going to be the silver bullet that's going to cure all of the ills which have been developed in the last week. We're going to have a different set of problems, different people upset, different disappointments and different anxieties. This thing is an almighty mess, but it didn't have to be.
The turmoil isn't over yet. Sixth form colleges like this have to decide this week who to let in to do difficult A-levels like sciences, when many students might end up with similar GCSE results. And for universities, difficult decisions too. How many more students can they admit, while at the same time keeping their campuses COVID secure? Steph has accepted a place at another university. Changes today, too late to get her to Cambridge. Other students now weighing up their options. Bronwyn Jeffries, BBC News, Birkenhead.
That ends the Kopala TV main news for today, but before we go, we recap on our headlining stories. NACARES painfully declares 2020 as a dead year for non-examination grades. Government extends Aquaculture Fund deadline. Rainbow Party on the Copper Belt welcomes a recently launched 470 million Kwacha Youth Empowerment Fund. Thank you for watching the Kopala TV main news. My name is Awila Musongole, and God bless.